Hi everyone. I thought we would just do some quick, fun, traditional holiday resin makes. Um, if you need an ornament to gift as a gift, or you just want to hang them on your own tree, or you want to make it to sell them. These are just quick, easy ways to make things with resin. You don't have to do blooms or any of those other things. So I have, how much resin do I have mixed up? And I mixed it up pretty fast. I have about 4 ounces of resin mixed up. It's fast cure resin, and it's a higher viscosity resin. It's Let's resin. And anytime you have a higher viscosity resin, you get more bubbles. So I'm gonna blow my heat gun into this cup to get rid of some of the bubbles. And I'm also going to pour into my molds from a little bit higher up. I'm only going to do halfway full on these little round ones. And this will allow us to put what we want in the resin and then add a second layer with something to behind them. Let that move around. And then I'm going to do this mold. And this one we're going to do a thicker second layer, but I just want to do my first initial put stuff in layer. And I also want to get it spreading out and getting rid of some of these bubbles. And the great thing about fast cure is you could have these completely done in about 8 hours. Now, I would still use caution with them for at least 24 hours. Let them cure all the way before you mess around too much with them. Let's add just a little more in this one. All right. Perfect. Now, the things that I'm using today are just little things that I found in our store called Hobby Lobby. I don't know if you have one in your area, but these are, let's put that up. These are buttons. And I just found them in the holiday section. And that's my angel also is a button. See, it's got the button thing on the back. And it's okay because even if the button thing sticks up a little bit, that won't be the front of your ornament. And then my next thing I'm using, it's actually a brooch. And you can get these really cheap, especially at Temu or the dollar store, places like that. Sometimes these backs come off really easy, but the way that we're going to do this, it doesn't even matter that it has a back. And then I just have these little decorations that I got from Hobby Lobby also that I'm going to use. The next thing I'm going to do is, because I still have quite a few bubbles in this, I want to go ahead and use my heat gun while it's in the mold. I'm going to turn my heat gun on, let it get a little warm, and then blow them. Doesn't make any sense to blow while it is cold because it's the heat that gets rid of the bubbles. All right, so the other thing is traditional resin, when you're sticking things into the resin, you create pockets of air, which causes bubbles. So you have to use a lot of caution when doing this and pay attention to them. Now, these plastic gloves do not make it easy to do this. So I'm going to use tweezers, hopefully, and hopefully these will make it easier. I am just randomly placing these. Let's see. Just going to randomly place them. And I'm going to do some glitter or something on the back so they'll look really cute. You can also get like these little balls and stuff, and trees and all sorts of things. So I could even add those if I want to this, just like, let's see. I want to add, just like drop them in, add them, go a little festive. green ball. There I do. I also have these green stones, and these make great additions to ornaments, things like that, because they have a different type effect. They almost look like they're see-through. These have color, but you can get clear stones, and those look really cool too. I didn't know if I was going to add them here, but since this is just for fun, I'll just... Oops. I should have put them on my table. That would have been easier. Just adding just a little more color and a unique texture. These stones are just great for something like that. And you know what? Ornaments are fun. And part of them, or at least on my tree, my tree is a lot of handmade ornaments that my kids have made or that I've made over the years. And they just mean a lot to us. When we look at our tree, we see memories of the years gone by. You know, I don't necessarily recommend kids with resin, but if they want to sit next to you and pick out some stuff to put in the resin and then you place it in the resin, that's a great idea too, just to bring them into it a little bit. All right, so what about our angel? What are we gonna do here? The angel, I think I'm gonna back with something cool. Let me get the tweezers because I don't want to stick my glove in the resin. Which way does the star go? Is the big point on the top or the bottom? I think it's on the bottom. These are just neat, cute little things. Let's see, do we have these switched around where they look kind of, these are kind of like going the same direction. We don't really want that. We want it to look kind of, not that we placed it there perfectly. All right, let's look at the tree. How do we want to do the tree? I guess we could do the middle, or you could do off to the side. It's probably easier to not do the middle because then it doesn't have to be perfect. Because I am never good at measuring. If you've seen my blooms, I usually put my centers in the wrong spot. That's how I roll. I just tilted this so it even looks straight up. Don't want a crooked tree. All right. Now, I could go ahead and do these now, or I could wait for the second layer. And I think I'm going to do that because I think it'll give it more of a 3D look because they'll be setting back at the end. If I put them in now, I think they'll float, and that would be cool. Let's see. These are kind of hard. I don't want to drop my glove in here. Let's see. Kind of big presents. Trying to not stick my head in the camera too. That was a red one, so now I must have to do a green one. Yeah, because they're kind of sitting on top of the resin. And that'll work. That's the thing about the fast cure and the viscosity being so thick. If it was a thinner resin, I don't know that they would sit. Oh, do I have room for 2 presents on this side? Oh, I don't know. Let's see if we could jam one in. I may not be able to fit it. Maybe if I pull that up a little. There we go. Can I push it back down? Sorry if my head, I'm trying to not put my head in the camera, but I can't really see what's going on. I think that's okay. What do you think? Now, if you notice any more bubbles or anything you need to do, you can hit it with your heat gun, but you can also use your 91% or 99% alcohol spray. I just put mine in a little spray bottle. Because I didn't put things too deep, I really shouldn't have a bubble issue. I don't really see any, but the alcohol won't hurt anything, so feel free to spray away. But we're gonna let these set up probably overnight because it's getting late here. And we'll come back in the morning and we will add the backs, some cool colors hopefully, or some glitter, and they will look awesome. All right, we are back and we're ready to back 2 of them, but I went to sleep before I let it set, and my presents on this side moved. So I'm gonna have to do a little finagling to try to make it look okay. So let's go ahead, and I want to put some resin in this one. First, I have my resin. I just poured it, so it's bubbly. Let's get our heat gun out. Give it a little bit there. And then I'm gonna pour just a very thin layer. The thin layer makes it tricky too because thinner layers don't cure as fast. So you do end up having to watch them for a little bit longer. My cup. All right, while that's moving into where it needs to be in that one, let's go ahead and mix our backs for these. They came out pretty cool. You can't really see perfectly yet, but I figured since we've got the green balls and the green glass, let's do some of this Jubilee, red Jubilee Hollow from Laura's Art Corner, because, you know, ornaments have to be gaudy and glittery and bright. So let's try to make this one that way. I think I've got enough. I think it's maybe a little over an ounce to cover the back of this. Let's get a stick. And I do like light to shine through most ornaments. And this one strikes me as one where you need the light to shine through because it is a little different. You know, it's not perfect. Let's see what this looks like. I haven't used this yet. It's brand new. And if it's not enough, then we can add some color maybe. That does look pretty cool though, right? I think it might be just enough glitter if it's poured in there. If I can get a thick enough layer, then it'll look like a red glitter ornament. But let's, in case I can't get a thick enough layer, let's go ahead and let me find one of my bigger spoons. And I'm gonna add just a little bit more, just in case I don't get a super thick layer, because we don't have much room in these molds. Just a little bit more. That should be enough to hopefully give us just a glitter back. And that's all I'm looking for. All right, let's pour. Just want a super glittery back. I think that might be enough. Let's let that one move around and let's mix up our next one. So this one is not going to be, to me, a gaudy ornament, a little, you know, we don't want to be glittery and we just want it to be pretty. So I think what I'm gonna do for this one is just this deep blue hyacinth flower one. So I'm gonna put a little resin in my cup. And again, we don't need much because it's such a small ornament. Actually, I might put just a tad more. I'll use these in something else, even if I mix them all together and make something crazy. All right, so this one's also from Laura's Art Corner. I just love this blue. It looks like a blue velvet. I'll grab one of my sticks from my stick cup. Just gonna take a little bit like that. It's very little amount of resin. Slowly start stirring it so it doesn't come out of the cup. Make sure it's mixed in all the way. These mix in really well though. I generally don't have any problem with these powders. You know, I always talk about the problem with powders, and I had this one that just would not mix in, and I'm sitting here mixing, and it's just clumpy. I'll never buy that again. All right. Make sure. All right, and we're just gonna give this a pour in. Now, like I said, with these buttons and stuff, they kind of stick up in the back or will stick out a little bit, but that doesn't matter. I mean, no one's looking at the backs of your ornaments and saying, wow, look at this, you got something sticking out here. No one is saying that. All right, so there's our blue. I mixed it perfectly, the right amount. So we have those two done. Now this one, I am gonna just wait a little bit. And actually, I see some bubbles in this one. Let's get it. This one I care more about the bubbles because it's going to be more see-through, and we're doing another layer, so you got to be more cautious with bubbles. These two, I'm going to let them sit for a minute. I like to let the resin do its thing for a little bit. And then I will most likely hit them with my alcohol spray I showed you earlier to get any bubbles out. But I like them to let them do a little degassing on their own, so I'm not putting too much more on the resin. All right, so for this one, which I'm gonna have to babysit for a little bit this time, I'm gonna try to cover up my mistake by putting that there. What did I do with my handy dandy tweezers? Just trying to hide that I went to bed instead of making sure my ornaments presents stayed in place. And then, all right, maybe I need to do that a little bit higher to make it line up with the other ones. And then I think what I'll do is I want to make the sides even. I'm debating, will it look more natural if I put it up to the side or put it in the middle? I'm gonna do it, ooh, and I want to tilt it a little because I do want it to make it sort of match the other side, if it's at all possible. I'll push this down. See if we can get this to look right. All right. Just hold it down for a second. All right. Now, we're going to have to come back again when I do the back of this one. But I'm going to put it off to the side. I got some other projects I'm going to be doing. And then I will come back and I will show you what I'm going to do to the back of this one. In the meantime, they are debubbling or unbubbling or degassing. I'm just going to give it a little shot. And then I'm going to watch it some more just to make sure all the bubbles slowly come up and out of it. Otherwise, we'll be back. All right, we are back to wrap this one up. the resin is now hard enough to do the next coat. I am going to do these stones to make it look like ground a little bit. But first I want to make it look like snow, and I think this will make it look pretty cool. I'm not going to put a lot. Sometimes these bags are hard to open with these gloves on. Let's say, there I go. All right, so I'm not going to put a lot. I've got about 4 ounces of resin mixed up, and I'm just going to shake a little on the top. I was going to do my snow glitter, but then I said, nah, let's do something a little more festive. All right, so did that. And now I live near the shore, so I'm going to do these sandy colored looking rocks for my bottom. And I am going to have to turn it so I could see the bottom. I am going to pour my resin in first. And I'm going to let it drip into the mold. Slowly let it move down to my rocks. The rocks will drop. Now I'm going to slowly just do this. There we go. And the resin's moving in to meet up with it. I'm going to put some more in now so that it pushes even more. I'm going to fill the mold. I'm going to, hopefully I poured enough to it's up to the top of the rocks. That's all we want. Now with the rocks, I let it slowly fill them like this on purpose. And it's for bubble reasons. It gives me a little bit more control over bubbling. As the resin slowly fills the air pockets or the holes, the goal is to not have a lot of bubbles. So when it slowly fills in the things, it's still got a little place where it can breathe out of. The resin is really thick, because it's fast cure. That's where I was going with that. So that sometimes makes it harder to fill in all those spots, so I'm giving it a little shove to fill those pockets in. I might have added too much glitter, but we won't know till we can flip it over and look at it. Now at this point you can tap, or we can, to get rid of bubbles, that's what we're looking to get rid of, any bubbles that were created. So I like to do a little tapping, or you can do your spray, or you can do your heat. I'm gonna just give it a spray with my alcohol. And then just keep an eye on it, because we did put stones in here, and sometimes bubbles are created when you do that. Just moving it around, tapping, heat, all those wonderful things that we can do to help get rid of bubbles. I'm rubbing the side because I don't know if you've ever had a mold where there's a bubble in it. We sort of manipulate the bubble up out of it. And so to me, it's the same sort of concept. I'm manipulating in case there are any bubbles to come up out of it. And I don't know if you see, but there are tiny ones that are developing. Let's Resin's great. Like I said, though, it's a great degassing resin. But I also have my spray, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. If you get bubbles around the edge, you can do my little trick with the toothpick and spraying it and getting it wet, and then just taking it around the edge and giving them a little pop. If they're deeper in, you have to pull them up first to pop them. When you do layers of resin, you really have to be careful around the edge, because that's one way you can tell that you have layers in your resin, is if you got little bubbles around the edge. think I'm doing pretty good here. It looks pretty good. Might give it a couple more taps to move it around a little. Get into the air pockets with the rocks. And it's still, I can see bubbles popping. It's degassing on its own. Let me look at the bottom one more time, make sure there's nothing. And I'll give it another spray, just a precautionary spray where those rocks are. All right, well, all we have to do now is wait for it to harden so we can take it out of the mold and see what we got. The other two are almost ready, but I figure we'll do them all at the same time. All right, we are back to see how these came out. I really probably should have done some sort of white or silver glitter on this one because I realized that the stockings were red, so I don't know how the red is gonna look. But let's see, it'll be a fun Christmas ornament. That came out pretty cool. Imagine it on a tree. And you see what I meant about the stones? They look kind of transparent, see-through. It's a different type of effect. That's pretty cool. All right, now it's our angel. I hope the blue wasn't too dark. I always second guess myself. Oh no, look. Isn't that cute? That is so cute. I'll show you, I bought some ribbon and I'm gonna put a hole through this, but it's gold and silver ribbons. So I think gold would look so cute with this. And I always forget when I put things in, I should do them on the opposite side. I probably should have had the star over here. It's a learning process. All right, let's just see how this came out now. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look how fun. And the presents came out okay after that debacle. But look, it's so cool. All right. Thanks for watching.